It's on whenever you want. This person's been a Toastmaster for 3 years. This is his 5th speech in the Entertaining Speaker Manual. So, help me welcome Kerry.
Feeling pretty confident, so I'm going to go ahead and set this trophy over by my chair there. Wow, this really takes the stress off. Cover up your word now. Yokel, right?
Yokel.
Yokel. Good evening. About 2 months ago, the owner of the company called me into his office. And I don't know about you, but anytime the owner of the company calls me into his office, it's like I'm looking in my mirror and see a cop. It just makes that hair on my neck stand up. And really, there's only about 3 people on this world that would do that to me when I have an impromptu meeting. It's obviously the owner and my father and Rose. But I made the trek down the hall, and I knew instantly when I got into his office that he was excited, because when the owner gets excited, he always claps his hands. And he said, "Kerry, I was at my bank board meeting last night." He's on the bank board down in Osceola. He said the president of Graceland University was there, and he was looking for companies that would hire marketing interns for the summer. And I know what he was thinking. He was thinking, now I can finally get somebody to help carry out for these projects he's been wanting to do, and I can get them cheap. And he said, "So what do you think?" And what I thought was, now I'm going to have some snot-nosed punk yokel from Lamoni, Iowa, who's going to be riding my hip for 400 hours this summer. But Toastmasters, if you learn nothing from what I tell you tonight, know this. When the owner of your company is excited about something, you should be excited too. So I said, "I love it. I'll call down there tomorrow and set up some interviews." And I did. And he started today. Now, I had the next 2 months after that to think about what I was going to do with this intern. And I thought, when I was in college, what would I have wanted somebody to tell me about, life in the real world? Because this guy has all the tools. I mean, he's a 4.0 student. I'm sure he's aced every one of his exams, and everything he's done in college has just been successful. But that's not the way the real world works. So I tried to whittle it down. I tried to make it short. So I came up with this 4 pillars of selling anything and everything. And I'm going to pound it in his head for the next 10 weeks. And hopefully he'll thank me when he's done. And when he gets out into the real world, maybe he'll actually be able to sell something. Because right now I don't think he could sell a lick. And I feel pretty comfortable talking with you guys about this tonight. Because at one point in our lives, we're all salespeople. We have to sell ourselves in an interview, or maybe on a dating website, or maybe we have to sell that stupid box of candy they give you every time you sign up a kid for soccer or baseball. And I've watched plenty of your speeches, and I know that most of you couldn't sell anything. But that's okay. I mean, we are all different people. And if the world was full of salespeople, let me tell you, absolutely nothing would get done. Now, the first thing I'm going to teach my intern, the first pillar of selling anything and everything, is to shut up and listen. Now, I learned this lesson the first day of my first job ever. Back in when I was 16, I got a job at J.C. Penney's. And after 3 days of orientation there, I couldn't wait to get out on the sales floor. And I went out there, and the first customer started walking up to me, and I scanned him like they said to do. And he walked up, and I said, "Sir, welcome to J.C. Penney's." I said, "I can see you're looking for some shoes." He had holes in his shoes. And I said, "You're in luck today." I said, "We just got in a whole shipment of Air Jordans." This was 1983. And I said, "Oh, we got them in white and red and black, but I can see you're a white shoe kind of guy." I said, "I guarantee we have your size because we have all the sizes. We just got the shipment." And he started to say something, and I said, "Oh, so you need some socks too?" I said, "That's great because I saw some socks in the back room. They were going to match those perfectly. I'll be happy to get them for you." And I ran to the back room and I got them. And I came out and I said, "Well, here they are. Is this going to be cash or charge?" He said, he finally spoke. He said, "Well, I really didn't come here looking for shoes." He said, "The lady in credit said the bathroom was around here." And if I had just shut up and listened, I could have saved myself some humiliation. And the second pillar of selling anything and everything is to tell the truth. Before I was selling this sexy thing they call hitch pins, I used to sell what we called area walls. And if you don't know what an area wall is, you've probably heard it by other names as an egress or a window well. Well, I was down in Kansas City, and I was trying to sell a builder, and I really wanted this sale. And he said, "Kerry, I really like your product." He said, "But there's one problem." He said, "I need a truckload of these by Monday." And this was Thursday. And I knew the plant would have to work Saturday to get him that truckload. But I also knew that we were getting a new transformer that weekend by the electric company. There's no way the plant was going to be open Saturday. But I wanted that sale. Instead of telling him no, I said, "You bet you'll have those Monday." And I was planning in the back of my head that I would call him on Monday and say, "Oh, you wouldn't believe what happened this weekend. There was an accident in the plant. We couldn't get your stuff out." So I came marching back to the office with this big order. And I sat it down on my secretary's desk, and she just had this sad look on her face. And she said, "Kerry, I don't know what you told that builder down there, but after you left his office on Thursday, his secretary faxed up the order so we could get going on it. And I didn't know, so I told her that we weren't going to be open that weekend. And he wants you to call him." And I did. I manned up and I called him, and he said, "Kerry, I wish you wouldn't have lied to me." He said, "I really liked your product." He said, "I could have worked it out. I was going to buy them." He said, "But now what you cost me, you've cost me my whole weekend because I have to try to get a hold of all these subs and send them somewhere else on Monday." He said, "I wish you would have just told me the truth." And the third pillar of selling anything and everything is to know your product inside out and love it. This might look like to you just a common fastener that's made around the world, but it isn't. This fastener is made in Iowa by hard-working, tax-paying Americans. And this wire on here, this is a spring wire. It's been tested to open and close thousands of times without bending. And this clip on here, these are hand clipped, every one. And they're checked every time. And this silver color you see on here, this is a zinc coating, the finest zinc you can buy. We check this every 2 months. We send them into labs to get them tested. And this thing will last 200 hours of continuous salt water being sprayed on it before it shows a sign of rust. Now, would you rather have this pin holding up that $900 robotic arm, or would you rather have one from a competitor that you have no idea where it comes from? Know that product and love it, because it's part of you. And if you don't love something, there's no way you're going to sell it. And finally, the fourth pillar of selling anything and everything is that failure is an option. We can never succeed in life if we don't fail. It's okay to make mistakes, because people that don't make mistakes aren't trying, and they call these people complacent. And I guarantee you in sales, there's one thing about complacent salespeople. They get fired. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been working for Miller Products since 2008. And when I got there, they were really good at saying no to their customers. They were hearing everything the customer had to say, but they weren't listening. So when I got there, we started listening. And we found out that our products were being made cheaper with the same quality elsewhere. And we found out that our products were becoming outdated. So we took some chances. We started making things out of stainless steel. We started making things with higher tolerances. We bought new machines. We made more complicated parts. And we failed. We failed plenty of times. I mean, here's an example for you. This pin right here. This nice little pin, push the button, the balls move in, right? We targeted this thing to sell it for $17. There was two problems with that. It cost $27 to make it, and our competitor found out how to sell it for $5.99. My intern has all the tools in the world. I hope that when he leaves, he is not afraid to fail. And he tells the truth. And he knows the product. I know he will. Because at Miller Products, I'm happy to tell you that 32% of our gross revenue now comes from stainless steel products. And June will be the end of our quarter, and it will be our record quarter in sales. If you take these four pillars of selling anything and everything, I guarantee you, you'll be successful.